Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. We're about to bring in our friends over on Amazon so we can be a part of our special presentation we have coming up for you guys today. The film we're going to be talking about is not actually on Amazon, but I wanted to be able to reach our widest audience possible. So we're going to be simulcasting it over there. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon side, you can type you guys a welcome message over there. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. We're excited about our next guest. Next week on Wednesday, November the 19th, we're going to be celebrating International Men's Day. It's a great opportunity to be able to recognize the positive impact of men and the family in the community and around the world. It also will be a special screening and discussion taking place in Los Angeles around my next guest film called Black Man. I'm excited to welcome Jon Covington to our broadcast today. I had a chance to watch a screening of his film, Black Man. It's a powerful film. We're going to talk to Jon not only about the film, but also the conversations he wants to take place there in Los Angeles on Wednesday, November the 19th, but also afterwards as well. Jon, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, Cyrus. So good to be on your show.
Well, look, when our mutual friend, Melissa Bennett, told me about you and the film, I was excited about it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Nothing prepared me for what I saw, Jon. That's why I had sent Jon a message on Instagram and said, I watched the film. We have a lot to talk about. I literally watched it from beginning to end. And I have to say, I'm here in Mississippi broadcasting here for Amazon. And I learned so much in the first 5 minutes of the film, Jon, that I did not know about, for our audience that don't know what I'm talking about, when the first African American being born in the United States, I had no idea, the businesses that were open, the range. So I want to talk about what it's been like for you, Jon, to share not only this history that you do in this film, but also the impact of the Black men that you feature.
What it's been like for me, it's really been life-changing. I'm from the town in which the men are from, where only 7% of the population are Black men.
Hmm.
And so it's been life-changing for me. It's also been educational for me. I didn't know some of those things that I share in the documentary that you just referenced. I didn't know some of those things myself until I started doing research. And I spent a lot of time in research libraries. And the more I researched, the more that I unfolded. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but as it relates to New York City, for example, when
Hmm.
people see the film, they go, whoa, I had no idea about the history of New York City and Manhattan as it relates to an African American male.
Hmm.
And so it's been life changing for me, but also very educational for me. Now, obviously, I've seen the film multiple times,
Yeah.
uh, and it's been a work in progress now for 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and I sit there and I catch different things about the film that maybe I had forgotten, or
Yeah.
I see it in a different way. So some of the cities that we've already screened it in, we literally have people come back and see it a second, third, fourth time.
Yeah.
But
I,
to answer your question, it's been life changing for me.
and I can understand people want to see it again as well. I mean, it is one of those things. And again, for my audience that knows me, Jon, I'm an individual who I love history. I
Yeah.
love learning, and the reason why I'm so glad I have this profession, I love sharing. So I was very excited about when, like I said, when it was the first pitch to me about talking with you, I was excited about doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But then when I actually saw the film, because the title in itself is so powerful, Black Man. Because one of the big takeaways for myself, Jon, and that I've tried to show in my career, and I'm sure you've done as well, is that we are not a monolith. When someone
Correct.
hears Black Man, you can't just say there is one look, one background, one trajectory for that. What has that been like for you to have that conversation with people?
It's interesting because initially, and not many people, but initially, when my partner, the Muskegon Museum of Art, they said, what are you gonna call it?" And I said, "I'm gonna call it Black Man." And there's always a a pause, like, black man, are you sure that's what you're gonna call it? I said, yep, because I want people to think about it. So
Mhm.
people think about it, but they don't know what it is. They think they know what it
Yeah.
is until they see the film, or if they don't think they know what it is, they have all these ideas about what it is, and they still don't fully know. Even after watching the trailer, you don't fully know what it's about. But I think I intentionally uh, wanted to name it Black Man for a myriad of reasons. I wanted people to just think what they thought,
Mhm.
and then be able to prove them that their thoughts weren't quite accurate.
Yeah.
And so, if I had to do it all over again, I would name it Black Man again. But it creates curiosity amongst people when they see, Black Man, what is this about? And I wanted that conversation to ensue as a result of the title.
And it definitely does. And I think there, and I'm going to be careful not to talk. I could talk to you so much about this now that I've
Yeah,
seen it, but
let's
but
go, let's
but
go.
what I want to also for our audience who haven't seen it, I want to just tell them enough so they can be excited about the opportunity. We're going to be showing actually a bit of the trailer
Mhm.
and here in a bit. John, let's go back if you don't mind,
Mhm.
because we kind of I mentioned the history you shared literally the first 5 minutes, but we also see you beginning the literal journey, to interview these individuals that we're able to meet, right? How did this all begin? How did you come up with the idea to be able to even to do this documentary?
That's a great question, and that's something that always comes up in talkbacks because people are just like, "How did this come to be?"
Hmm.
Well, the Muskegon Museum of Art initially hired me to create a 3-minute loop for a still art exhibit that they were doing on African American men called Sons, Sons. So it was just very casual, and they told the guys who were subjects in the still exhibit, if you got time, one of these 3 days, stop by and see John. They hired a artist out of the East Coast, Jerry Taliaferro. Taliaferro. They hired him out of the East Coast. He had done something similar to this, I think, in New York and possibly Philadelphia, and so they wanted me to just come in and interview folks. Uh, and again, it was very casual. And so, about the second guy in, and we're in a makeshift studio at the art museum. And the second guy that comes in, he walks out, and you don't see this in the film because the film is only an hour and 21 minutes. And so you can't have this, you can't show everything, right?
Right.
Um, but he walks out and he's sobbing. He's literally sobbing. This very grown, typically kind of stern, not really emotionally available black man is walking out of our makeshift studio. He's sobbing. And so I thought, And he was the second one, by the way. He was only the second guy I interviewed, and he was the second guy to walk out crying. But he was sobbing. And I said, I think this is more than a 3-minute loop. Thus, Black Man was born. And here
Wow.
we are.
Yeah. There's so many layers to this, I think, for myself as a viewer, John, because again, what is also so fascinating, and I think people will get lost in this when they're watching it, that these people are all from the same state. They're all from the same state. Just like our audience can look at where they're from. Like I'm here in Mississippi, and I bring that up for this point, but their stories are so different. But there were some, and I was telling my guest right before you, Allie Dalsimer, that I was telling her about the film. Her son's also a filmmaker,
Mm.
and I said I could see myself in some of the stories. And I was that kid, and you'll know who I'm talking about in the film, John, who
Already know.
kids talk to and said I try to talk white.
Already know. I
Yeah,
knew before. I knew when
yeah.
you said, yeah, I already knew. But go ahead.
And
Go
I
ahead.
was listening to his story and thinking, wow, that's my story. And then to see how he became, and I'll leave that for people when they watch the film, it was not surprising for me to see where he was and his perspective of life because it mirrors mine. What was that like for you to see that men from the same place, of course, coming from different situations and different points of view, how their stories are finding connections literally around the world?
Mind-boggling. That's the best thing that I can come up with. Mind-boggling. You think about it. I'm from this small town, and I've done a lot in my years, and I've been all over the place.
Hmm.
And the one project that really changes everything is a town back home, is a project back home
Yeah.
where I started. And so to have this type of response and impact, it's just been mind boggling. And the stories are so layered and varied that different people come up to us with different um, thoughts about the film personally, things that they connected to personally. There's another story in the film where a guy is mixed race, and
Hmm.
he talks about his journey
Hmm.
from a male perspective. We sometimes hear women talk about it being biracial. I think more so we hear women talk about it. We rarely hear men talk about it. Uh, but it's like, man, I had no idea. And so some people come up to him, I mean, come up to me at screenings. And by the way, he'll be at the screening Wednesday in LA.
Hmm.
But people come up to me and they say, oh my God, I cried during that. That was my experience, or that's my son's experience, or that's my daughter's experience. And then you've got other people who come up to us about the kid who, another kid has sickle cell.
Hmm.
And so, not to give too much away, but it's okay. We want to give enough away where people want to come, right?
Right, right.
Uh, so it's been mind-boggling,
Yeah.
Cyrus. I didn't mean to go on a tangent
No,
on that,
no.
but it's been mind-boggling, and it's been relatable to everybody who's seen it in some way or another.
Yeah,
Different things are relatable,
yeah.
but you can have two people who are sitting right next to each other and ask them after the film what resonated with you. And they'll say two different things every time. And they're sitting right there next to each other. They came with each other
Yeah.
to see the film. So it's just been mind boggling.
And it just shows we can come from the same place and not, because that again, here I am in a city outside of Jackson, a small city, and being able to go to school with people. And it really shows, which is why I'm so glad to have you on, John, that you, just because you may see us the same, we're not the same. None of us are the same. We're going to get more into that. Do you mind if I share a bit of the trailer now?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
let me reset for
My
our audience. I
pleasure.
see you guys, we have 170 of you guys over there on the Amazon side. Appreciate you guys joining us on the
Nice.
simulcast on Facebook,
Nice.
LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm speaking with Jon Covington. He was the director of this film called Black Men. Black Man. We're going to go ahead and let you guys see a bit of the trailer. We're going to continue with our conversation with John right after this. So you guys make sure you guys stay with us.
Somehow happened along the way is I, educationally, I'm somewhat well spoken. And growing up and being in the Black community, that was not always accepted. And it was, you're trying to be something else. Well, this is who I am since I was a kid.
Singing gospel, you have groupies in church just like you do in clubs.
And I got to her, picked her upper body up, and began to call her name. And, She didn't answer.
And eventually, when I gathered myself, I came on home. Yeah, so it didn't really hit me still.
Hey, your granddaddy over there. Hey, my granddaddy, that's my daddy. I miss him, but yeah, as far as shaping me, molding me into the man that I think I would like to be, I'd say my dad.
I would say to him, I've completed what you wanted to do. And I don't know why you asked me that, but anyway.
It's like you could see things in me, and then I saw things in you. And I feel like you let them slip away. They'll see me in my profession and they're surprised. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, I didn't know, a black guy with dreads would be capable of being the face of an organization.
Everybody is the expert on his or her own experience. So you need to trust them and believe them when they talk about what's happened to them. I think when we talk about our particular experience, and not just as it pertains to racism, but as it pertains to anything, I think people kind of sit in judgment and say, well, I'm not going to believe that just yet. I'm going to see if that actually fits with what I know. It doesn't have anything to do with what somebody else has done.
I want to stop it there. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting it on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. I'm joined today by Jon Covington, who is the director of the film you all just saw the partial trailer for, called Black Man. He's going to be having a special screening coming up on Wednesday, November the 19th. That's International Men's Day, a day appropriately to be able to spotlight the positive impact of men in the family, community, and around the world. Jon, talk to us about, before we get more into the film, because I definitely want to do that, talk to us about this event and why this was important for you to have. You have some, in fact, some of our previous guests are going to be there. Major's going to be there. I see recording artists we've had a chance to speak with. Talk to us about this event and what you hope comes out of it in Los Angeles.
Well, the event, as you mentioned, International Men's Day, we felt that it was the day to do the film. We felt, okay, International Men's Day and doing the documentary Black Man, it just makes sense. And to be honest with you, it was our publicist, it was her idea, Walisa, publicist du jour is what we call her. It was her idea. We knew that the screening, that it was going to come to LA, but she said, this is what we should do. And we pulled the trigger, and it's just been, the response has been incredible. But what we hope, what I'd like for people to get out of this and the conversation after the film Black Man Rise is I would like to, via our panelists, major platinum selling recording artist Quincy Isaiah from the HBO hit series about the Lakers dynasty, Ian Wallace, dynamic young man himself, and Amadou Seck also, who is a VP over at Macro Studios. He's also joining the conversations, and we may have a few surprise guests as well who have reached out and said, I'm planning to be there. But just honest dialogue, honest conversation, transparent conversation about us, Black men in particular, where we are, where we're going. There is the thought that we are being, and I can't say this is necessarily a general thought, but there's a lot going on as it relates to the black male currently. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah.
And so honest dialogue with comments and questions from those who are in attendance, I think just creates a an opportunity. And this may just be the beginning of other things, but to get us all in one room, it makes sense to have those who are part of the entertainment industry. It makes sense to have those who are part of the entertainment industry in the room because we're in Hollywood, right?
Right.
And so they happen to be in the entertainment industry, but they're black men.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to get their point of view about some things. So none of it's scripted. None of the questions have been shared. None of that. We're all going off of the energy, the thoughts from those who've seen the film. They'll all be there. Those people that I just mentioned, they're going to watch the film for the first time with everybody else.
Wow.
And so a lot of our conversation is going to happen as a result of what they've seen on the film, because in the film, we cover many topics. We cover thoughts on America. We cover fatherhood. We cover the everyday goings on of the African American, the black male. So we it's history too, as you mentioned in the first 5 minutes. We talk about history.
Mm-hmm.
So I suspect that as a result of the film, that'll help frame some of our conversation that happens after the film as it relates to black men. And one of the things that happened, Cyrus, we screened in Washington, D.C. We screened in Washington, D.C. Not long ago, and we had a Q&A. Film was over. Myself and about 15 black men stood outside the theater for an hour and 40 minutes after the film talking.
Wow.
Because the film had stirred up so much in them. They weren't a part of the film, but it stirred up so many thoughts, so many emotions, so many feelings, and it happens every city. And so we know that that's what will happen come Wednesday as well. It's just we've got a panel of guys. We've also got B.J. Williams, who his background as a model, who created a organization called Can I Be Vulnerable? CIBV, C.I. Boy Victor. He's also a part of the panel. B.J. Williams, a good friend of mine. And so he talks about mental health and the struggles that have happened to him, why he decided to seek therapy many years ago after a series of things happened in his life with his family. And now he's created this powerful organization called Can I Be Vulnerable? And we had a guy who saw the film in the entertainment industry, 37 years old, saw the film. And he said afterward, he said, I feel like watching this film, it was the first time I had been to therapy. Watching the film made him feel like he was in therapy.
Yeah.
As a result of seeing the film, he started therapy.
Well, that leads me to this question for you then, Jon, to turn the camera on you. Well, we already have, I guess, because you're the one being interviewed here. Because you're doing the interviews of the film. Because I thought about a question that I get asked a lot during this show over the years, and that is about trust. Because I'm always, when I have a guest that's on the program, I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel like they're in a space that is safe for them, that is not judgmental. It's there to give them a platform. It was very obvious to me in watching Black Men that you made each and every one of those men feel that way. So I want to ask you, what was it like for you to reflect back on the trust they had in sharing their personal stories with you the way they did?
Honestly, Cyrus, I feel as if I was chosen by a much higher power to be the conduit for this. Mm-hmm. I was chosen to be the vessel for this. Nothing else makes sense. The fact that it was supposed to be a 3-minute loop and it's now a documentary traveling around the country. All those things, the fact that the men are so open. Now, I will say, I did ask a question, and you saw the question where I started the film. I did ask a question to help them relax a bit. A bit of a controversial question, because when folks see it in the theaters, they instantly talk back to the theater, talk to the screen. He's not the greatest. What are you talking about? You're
Right.
crazy. And when people see it, they'll understand what that question was. But I use that as an icebreaker. So you talk about things that are familiar to someone, and it helps ease their tensions or whatever they may be feeling, because it's familiar to them. And I knew that these guys would have something to say with that question being answered. So I just used that to open the door. We open the door. Now they're somewhat comfortable. Then we go down a hallway. And then I might see another door. And then I open that door up just a little bit, see if they're going to walk through it. He walks right through it. Let me follow him into that door, which is actually how I determined what would be seen in the documentary. I picked out of a myriad of, because there are dozens and dozens of hours of interviews. So I allowed the topics to become what door they went through most. And that's how I created the topics. I allowed them and their responses or their unsolicited statements to determine what topics would be a part of the documentary. So I feel I was chosen for it. I'm still humbled by it. When I see the reactions of people, it's still quite, it's humbling. It's surreal. It's really, when I talk to somebody like you and you say, wow, I saw it. Wow, we got a lot to talk about. I learned history in 5 minutes. That's a powerful statement from a guy like you who says, I learned some history in the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
You're a well-studied guy. And so for you to say, I learned history in the first 5 minutes, mission accomplished.
And
I was chosen for it.
And I love that answer. I just want to say, too, for our audience that may be joining us locally, there is some Mississippi history that's actually national history, too, that finds its way into this film as well. So if you guys get a chance to watch Black Man, definitely it is worth it. I was telling John before, my audience knows, John, I was scheduled to actually be in Los Angeles next week. Unfortunately, that is not happening. But if you guys can make it there on Wednesday, November the 19th, to be able to see not only the screening of Black Man, but also to be part of the conversation, John, let our audience know where they can go for all the information and where to be.
Yeah. One, we have an email address, blackmanconversations@gmail.com. If you want us to reach out to you regarding tickets, or you can go to Eventbrite and type in International Men's Day, Black Man. Okay. And there's ticket information there as well. It's being held in the NAACP Plus screening room, which is located inside of the SAG-AFTRA building, 5757 Wilshire. I will say this. Tickets are getting very, 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 very tight. So if you decide that it's something that you'd like to attend, I recommend you do that today, like ASAP. Yeah, the response has just been incredible.
Yeah. It's well deserved. John, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you so they can keep up with updates about where maybe the film may be screening in their area?
Sure. Black Man Film, all one word. If you do hashtag Black Man Film, it'll take you to our page, Black Man, a documentary. Just remember hashtag Black Man Film. It'll take you to testimonials. It'll take you to the cities that are coming up. You'll see a ton of stuff, hashtag Black Man Film. Or you can follow me on social media, Instagram and Facebook, Jon Covington, Jon Covington, Covington.
John, great conversation with you. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Continued success with the film, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I appreciate it. Great talking to you, and I'm glad you like the film.
Oh, loved it. Loved it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.